What if the truth about the Madeleine McCann case was in the hands of someone the authorities ignored for years? A former FBI agent claims to have followed a forgotten lead, but can he change the course of the investigation? If you enjoy unraveling mysteries like this and want to follow our darkest investigations, subscribe to the channel now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any details of our upcoming cases. Since 2007, when Madeleine disappeared from the apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, the case has gone through numerous phases, theories, and suspects. Recently, Christian Bruckner, who was considered the main suspect, was acquitted of sexual crimes. To charge him for Madeleine's disappearance, the investigation went back to square one. While official attention wanes, a former FBI agent decided to take matters into his own hands. Reviewing archived evidence, he found overlooked details that point to a different theory. The disappearance may be linked to human trafficking, not an impulsive act. The starting point of the new investigation was a statement given a few hours after the disappearance. A witness described an unknown man near the McCann apartment. However, since there were no direct indications of involvement, the local police filed the information, now using artificial intelligence and facial recognition. The former agent believes he has identified this man, someone with direct ties to a trafficking network in Eastern Europe. Why was this line of investigation discarded so quickly? Was it an error by the authorities, a matter of limited resources, or did the focus on the crime scene overshadow other possibilities? The former agent's hypothesis is clear. Madeleine may have been taken out of Portugal within the first hours after her abduction. He suggests that the case was not just a crime of opportunity, but a part of a larger scheme involving an organized network already operating in the region. Another crucial point in the former agent's investigation is a Connaught wiretapped phone call made by Europol days after the disappearance. In this conversation, two suspects discussed the transportation of a special cargo. At the time, the recording was not thoroughly investigated, and the case took a different direction. What if this recording was the key to understanding what happened to Madeleine? The former agent believes that the interception suggests that Madeleine was quickly transported out of the country, while initial efforts were entirely focused on local searches. This possibility brings a disturbing view. The girl could have been taken to another country even before the Portuguese authorities coordinated an efficient search. This raises a new question. Did all the attention focused on Praia da Luz delay the true rescue? Another unsettling detail highlighted by the former agent is the pattern of the parents' checks. That night, the McCanns checked the children every 30 minutes, believing that interval was safe. However, this time gap may have been exactly what the kidnappers needed to act. Was someone watching and waiting for the right moment? The time window between the checks allowed Madeleine to be taken from the apartment without anyone noticing. And if the former agent's theory is correct, she could already be far from Portugal before the alarm was raised. With this new evidence in hand, the former FBI agent shared his findings with international authorities. Official investigations have a history of discarding important clues and prioritizing suspects who attract more media attention. If there's still a chance to find her alive, we can't waste any more time, states the former agent, convinced that this lead needs to be followed. The current situation leaves people with a crucial question. Are we finally on the right path, or are we about to witness another fatal error in the investigation of the most enigmatic case in recent years? With evidence suggesting a possible link between Madeleine McCann in a human trafficking network, the former FBI agent finds himself in a complicated position. He shared his findings with international authorities, but his independent investigation is already facing resistance. Portuguese and British authorities, overwhelmed by public pressure and years of frustration, are reluctant to reopen a path that has been set aside for so long. Here arises a question. When a lead is ignored for too long, does it still matter? The agent knows that time is running out, and each passing day makes it harder to follow this trail. Why so much silence when a new hope arises? The former agent cannot understand why the authorities seem indifferent to the possibility that Madeleine was a victim of trafficking. He discovers that there is bureaucratic fear. Opening a new line of investigation would mean admitting that the initial mistakes were fatal, something many are unwilling to do. The agent faces this resistance head-on, arguing, it's not about who was right or wrong, it's about finding a child who may still be alive. But what he hears in return is a familiar barrier. The authorities state that without concrete and current evidence, this line of investigation cannot be prioritized. Frustration grows, and the agent finds himself stuck between his conviction and institutional apathy. Are we seeing bureaucracy destroys an ace up his sleeve? Facial recognition tools and big data analysis. Recently, technology has allowed tracking minor trafficking across Europe, identifying patterns in images and suspicious routes. He decides to act on his own. With access to Securely International Databases, ICSO, he cross-references images from the original witness with records obtained in human trafficking investigations. One face matches. A member of an active network in Eastern Europe was identified near Portugal at the same time Madeleine disappeared. How did no one see this before? This is the kind of lead that cannot be ignored, and the agent knows he cannot wait for the authorities to take the initiative. With this new information in hand, the former agent finds himself at a crossroad. He has two options. One, wait for the authorities to finally take this evidence seriously, knowing that this may take time and might never happen. Two, act on his own, alerting international human trafficking organizations and the media, which could put him at personal risk. How far would you go to find a missing child? This is the question the agent asks himself, aware that exposing a criminal network could have consequences. He understands that every minute is precious, but knows that acting alone is risky and could compromise the entire investigation. The public is led to reflect along with the agent. Will bureaucracy and fear prevail, or will he have the courage to move forward? The agent decides that he can no longer wait. He arranges a confidential meeting with an investigative journalist experienced in covering human trafficking networks. During this conversation, the agent reveals everything he has discovered, from the ignored witness to the suspicious routes identified by new technologies. The journalist agrees to investigate but issues a warning. A story like this can explode in anyone's hands. Are you prepared for what will happen? The agent knows that by exposing this information, he may suffer retaliation, both from criminals and authorities who prefer the case to be forgotten. But he does not back down. If this is the only chance to find her, I have to take the risk. In the following days, the article is published and generates immediate repercussion. Social media is flooded with the new theory, and activists pressure the authorities to reopen the case based on the new findings. The public wants answers. How was this lead forgotten for so long? And are we closer to the truth than ever before? However, the repercussion also brings dangerous consequences. The agent begins to receive anonymous threats, and reports emerge that criminals involved in the trafficking network are on alert. This intensifies the suspense even more. Did the agent go too far? The agent finally receives a call from Interpol, informing him that the organization has decided to formally investigate the revealed lead. But there is a condition. He must remain silent and not interfere anymore, so the operation can succeed. This is the decisive moment. The agent has to choose. 1. Trust the authorities once again and allow them to lead the operation. 2. Continue pressing publicly, risking compromising everything. How much would you trust after so many broken promises? The agent opts to trust, knowing that this could be the last chance for him to find Madeleine, or the final mistake in a long list of failures. The former FBI agent, pressured from all directions, decides to trust Interpol and cede control of the investigation to international authorities. He knows that if he continues to interfere, he could jeopardize the operation. Still, a question echoes in his mind. Will they get everything right this time? In the following days, Interpol begins a discreet operation, tracking connections between the suspicious routes identified by the former agent and potential targets in Eastern European countries. Silence is crucial. Any leaks could alert the criminals. But this pause in the pace leaves the former agent uneasy. For the first time in months, he is not in control of the investigation. He finds himself forced to wait for answers, a position that is deeply uncomfortable for him. Can Madeleine still be found, or will the truth be lost once again? This doubt grows in his mind with each passing day. As the investigation advances in secrecy, the media and public opinion continue to react to the new theory. Social networks and discussion forums frantically speculate about the possibilities. What if she was indeed a trafficking victim? And did the authorities neglect this out of pride? Public pressure forces the British and Portuguese police to position themselves. They confirm that they are cooperating with Interpol, but avoid disclosing details, generating even more conflicting rumors about the investigation emerge. Some media outlets claim that hot leads are being pursued, while others allege that authorities are merely buying time to avoid more. That if Interpol does not act quickly, the narrative could escape control. And it is at this point that doubt sets in again. Was trusting the authorities a mistake? The agent begins to question whether he should have continued with his public investigation, maintaining pressure on the operation. But now, bound by the promise not to interfere, he can only wait. Days later, new events arise that heighten the tension. Informants in Eastern Europe report report that members of the trafficking network have started to disappear, likely fleeing upon realizing they are under surveillance. This movement is seen by some as a good sign, an indication that the investigation is on the right track. But for the former agent, this flight of the criminals is concerning. Are we losing the only chance to save Madeleine? He understands that if the operation is discovered prematurely, the girl may never be found. The chances of success decrease with each minute the network is dismantled. Meanwhile, he receives an unexpected call from a confidential source, claiming to have recently seen a girl with characteristics similar to Madeleine's, being transported in an area near the border. The source believes the child may have been relocated by the trafficking network, but the information is vague. The agent knows that if this lead is true, every lost minute could be fatal. Should I break my promise and act alone? He ponders. Now, the former agent is trapped in a moral dilemma. If he breaks his promise not to interfere and acts on his own, he could jeopardize the entire operation. But if he remains inert and Interpol fails, the feeling of guilt will be overwhelming. What if this is the last opportunity? He tries to discreetly contact the Interpol team, but receives an evasive response. We are assessing the situation. This vague reply offers no relief. Instead, it heightens the sense that bureaucracy and protocols are once again blocking the process. How many times has the truth been lost because we strictly followed the rules? The tension reaches its peak. Days pass and no concrete information is revealed to the public or the former agent. Interpol maintains silence, stating that any premature detail could compromise the investigation. But the agent feels that time is running out. Are we on the brink of another failure? Finally, a coded message from Interpol reaches the agent. We are close, but we need more time. This is enough for him to understand that something big is underway. Even so, the prolonged silence consumes him. The former agent finds himself at a crucial point. Accept that he has done everything he could and let the operation follow its course, or make one last desperate attempt to act alone. He looks at the phone, contemplating whether to call the journalist once more and put the entire operation at risk. Will trusting the authorities this time bring justice or just another disappointment? This is the final question echoing in his mind. After weeks of silent waiting and growing tension, the decisive moment finally arrives. The former FBI agent receives a confidential message from Interpol. The international operation has been launched, with coordinated actions in several Eastern European countries to dismantle the trafficking network. The operation, initiated based on the leads he provided, is the closest the investigation has come to a significant breakthrough in years. Have we finally reached the truth about what happened to Madeleine McCann? International forces surround locations previously identified as possible transit points for trafficking victims. It is a race against time. If the network realizes the operation, routes may change, and any chance to rescue Madeleine could disappear forever. The former agent is kept informed at short intervals, but only with minimal details to avoid compromising the mission. Every minute is critical, and the pressure to avoid mistakes weighs on everyone involved. A few hours later, the first results begin to come in. Interpol agents raid a warehouse in an isolated area where they find records and equipment used by the trafficking network. Several victims are rescued, some with severe trauma, but still no sign of Madeleine. Although they do not find the girl, seized documents suggest that Ada, a girl with physical characteristics similar to hers, passed through there years ago, but was transferred to another location. It is a thin thread, but enough to keep hope alive. Among the captured prisoners is one of the men identified in the intercepted phone call, who is now being interrogated, but he refuses to cooperate, increasing the uncertainty. The operation begins to slow down. With criminals dispersed and routes abandoned, Interpol hits a temporary dead end. The former agent feels the weight of frustrated expectations and begins to question himself. Did we do everything we could, or will Madeleine's case fall into oblivion once again? But he knows that even without the definitive discovery, dismantling the network was a significant victory. Several lives were saved. And even though the clues about Madeleine are scarce, this operation showed that there are still unexplored paths. The feeling is ambiguous, a victory, but without the ending everyone hoped for. In the following days, the agent is invited to participate in a press conference alongside authorities, but he declines. "I'm not interested in headlines, but in answers," he declares. For him, the mission is not over yet. Now, more than ever, he is determined to continue investigating on his own, knowing that the truth may lie somewhere among the clues left behind. Although the immediate outcome of the operation did not bring Madeleine's location, it opened new perspectives. The dismantled network indicates that previously ignored trails could be the key to solving the mystery. The former agent decides to continue investigating outside official channels, knowing that even if he does not find Madeleine, he will be closer to the truth than ever. Despite the efforts of the former FBI agent and the operations carried out by Interpol, the mystery surrounding Madeleine McCann McCann's fate remains without a definitive answer. New leads have opened promising paths, but the truth still eludes, leaving a sense of uncertainty that only grows with time. The dismantling of the trafficking network may have prevented other tragedies, but the essential question persists. Where is Madeleine? Mystery hunters, it is in these moments that we are reminded not every monster hides in the shadows. True darkness may be where we least expect it, in those who take advantage of chaos and confusion to hide in plain sight. And now I leave the question to you. How far is it worth going to seek answers, even when it seems the world has given up? If you've made it this far, comment, "I am a tireless hunter." That way I will know you followed our investigation to the end. Subscribe now and help uncover the darkest secrets of the human mind. Together we can continue the search for the truth, because this story is far from over. Is there a mystery or case you would like to see here? Leave your suggestions in the comments. We love to know what our mystery hunters want to uncover next. If you enjoyed this investigation and want more stories full of twists and disturbing mysteries, click now on the next video. It will satisfy your curiosity and further deepen your quest for the truth. And stay alert, hunters, because evil may be closer than you think. Until the next investigation.